Okay, so we are looking at a very interesting question type, which is called as double negative statements. Now, this is an interesting question type that gets used in the CAT. Okay, question will be something like this, something like all the statements or one of the statements, if false, will contradict the argument presented in the passage, contradict the argument. All right, so I hope this makes sense. Now, typically, this is regarded as a difficult question type. However, I don't think that. I think this is just a bit of mental reasoning that you need to do in order to answer this question type. So the first thing that any student should do is, convert this into, if true, if a statement is false that contradicts the argument, is as good as saying if the statement were true shall strengthen the argument. Okay, now please understand, I have already explained to you in previous the CR primer class that any argument in a critical reasoning will compose, the argument basically is a paragraph that has a premise which leads to conclusion, and in between the premise and the conclusion there are logical links. Okay, and these logical links are called as unstated assumptions. Now, when I say that if a statement is false, it contradicts the argument, basically that means it weakens the argument. If it strengthens the argument, then the logical link, the unstated assumptions will make sure that the premise premise reaches the conclusion in a logically constructive way. I hope that makes sense. Now, in this particular question type itself, a new question type can be created, probably a Q dash I'm using, in which the question will be said, all of the following. So this was one statement, if false, contradict the argument, you are supposed to find out. This one will ask you to find out all the statements. If false, the idea remains same. If false, will contradict, except. Now understand that we're not looking at the statement that is if true will strengthen the argument. We're looking at a statement that if true will weaken the argument. Now, so if true, this weakens the arguments presented in the passage. Okay, so this is all but critical reasoning happening in CAT RCs. Okay, so I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you. If you did, you know the drill. Like, share, subscribe.